Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas joins me now. He serves on the Armed Services Committee. Senator, this is a chilling trend. The letters that you read from members of the armed services or family members of theirs, I think are really unnerving. One of the things that we all know, even those of us who haven't served, about the military is that it's the great equalizer, right? You get a crew cut, you get a uniform. Everybody is the same because you're joined together for one purpose, and that's the defense of the nation. So what happens to our military when we start teaching them and dividing them? You are in this category, you're in that category, and treating them differently based on that.
Well, Martha, the anecdotes I read yesterday for Secretary Austin are genuinely alarming, but I can tell you they're just the tip of the iceberg. I first started hearing from some of my old friends who are still in the Army about these training sessions that were pushing critical race theory concepts like America is an inherently racist nation, or that some races are inherently oppressive or privileged months ago. When Congressman Crenshaw and I put out a general request for any whistleblowers, we've been inundated with hundreds of such examples. And what will happen if we allow this kind of training to continue at our frontline units is, as I said yesterday, there'll be growing mistrust between the races and the sexes where very little existed just 6 months ago. That will be damaging for morale and unit cohesion should our troops need to go to battle. It's also a huge opportunity cost. Every minute, every hour, every day that is wasted, whether in frontline units or the service academies or at professional military courses on things like critical race theory, is a time that couldn't be dedicated to, say, military history or operational excellence or training in the field. Those are real and tangible costs that our troops will be the ones to bear should they go to war not sufficiently prepared because we've wasted so much time on this nonsense.
It's honestly, it's terrifying. And you think about it in schools and you lose out on math and science and history when you spend all this time on CRT and other things. In corporations, right, they have one mission basically, and that's to make money for the company and to provide jobs. Once they start doing all of this diversity training and all these other things, they're away from their mission. But when the United States military starts to deviate from its sole mission, and you heard General Austin, the Secretary of Defense, say, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. We're the most lethal force in the world. Do you believe him? Do you agree with that statement still?
Well, Martha, I think you raise a great point. You know, if Coca-Cola wants to go full woke and detract from its mission of making sugary beverages that's going to contribute to obesity and diabetes in America, that's one thing. But for our military to spend its time teaching these insidious concepts to young troopers, some as young as 18 years old, just out of high school, then it does detract from lethality and readiness. Now, we can still be the world's most lethal fighting force, but we owe it to those young troops to ensure that every minute of every day is dedicated to preparing them to fight and win our nation's wars. Hopefully, because we'll deter our enemies from ever starting those wars, but should we have to send them into harm's way, that they are fully prepared, that they trust the man and the woman to their right and left, front and rear, irrespective of race, to fight and, if necessary, die for them.
Yeah, I mean, there are places where your individualism is really important, and there are places where it's important to leave that behind for the cause of for the greater cause that you're fighting for, and that's what the military has always been all about. You know, I think about this discussion, and I wonder what China thinks when they look at what we're doing and these forces at work in our military, and how upset some of these young men and women are when they find themselves indoctrinated with this when they go to join our military. And I think China must be loving this, right? This is a story that China would just be so thrilled to witness. Listen to this woman who grew up in Maoist China, Xi Van Fleet, what she sees as the similarities. Watch this.
The similarities are terrifying. They use the same ideology and same methodology, even the same vocabulary, and with the same goal. The ideology is cultural Marxism, and we were divided into groups as oppressor and oppressed. And here we use race, and there they use class.
I mean, it was chilling listening to her last night, Senator.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like struggle sessions out of the Cultural Revolution in communist China. You know, in fact, Martha, one of the Air Force officers from whom we heard said that if China or Russia wanted to sow discord and division in the ranks of the American military, this is probably the #1 thing they would do, is promote these kind of insidious ideas. That's one reason why I pressed Secretary Austin on it yesterday. I was a little disappointed at first he couldn't give simple yes or no questions, or answers to questions like, is our military inherently racist? I'm glad that he did in the end, and I'm glad that he said that if any trooper out there has this kind of insidious concept trained, that they should report it up their chain of command or to the Inspector General or to our office.
Senator Cotton, thank you very much. Great to have you with us this afternoon, as always. We appreciate it, Senator.
Thank you, Martha.
I'm joined now by